From LPM,
Louisville Public Media.
Sly Stone became an icon.
A Hulu original from Questlove.
Sly and the Family Stone. It can't be overstated how popular they were.
Variety called Sly Lives, the definitive funk pop documentary.
He opened the portal, like, come this way.
Generations have been influenced by Sly.
RogerEbert.com raves. It's a sonic kick to the soul.
If you've been on this height in life and you stop, where's that energy go?
Sly Lives, a.k.a. The Burden of Black Genius. Premieres February 13th, streaming on Hulu.
Hey y'all, it's Kelly Clarkson here to talk Wayfair. No matter your space, style, or budget, shop Wayfair.com to make your home way more you.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome to On Track. I'm Aisha Jaffer. Have you headed downtown lately? If not, was there something holding you back? If you have been downtown, possibly for work, maybe to see a show, grab a meal, or be a tourist in your own town, it might have felt a little less bustling than you remember. On the heels of the Downtown Hometown Tourist Celebration, where you're encouraged to explore the Central District, we're checking in with Rebecca Fleischaker, Executive Director of Louisville Downtown Partnership. Fleischaker also served in Louisville Metro government for 22 years in communications and economic development. She's here with us to talk about what's been done to revitalize the city and change the perception of downtown, as well as what the future may hold for Louisville's Central District. Rebecca, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I feel like we have to start at the root of the issue before we can dive into what's improved or changed in downtown. Your organization, the Louisville Downtown Partnership, has existed since 2013. It's comprised of two organizations that originated in the early 90s, the Louisville Downtown Management District and the Downtown Development Corporation. Could you give me sort of a brief history of downtown and its challenges that led to the need for this partnership?
Sure. So the two organizations that you just named were created for two different reasons. The Downtown Management District, the most visible thing you see from them are the ambassadors who are in orange, men and women in orange polo shirts. Right now they're wearing blue coats because it's 5 degrees. But they bring a welcoming presence to downtown. People, tourists, residents, workers, clean sidewalks, cover graffiti, work with the city on beautification. And that was something that we knew in the early 90s as we were trying to move from just a 9-to-5 central business district to increasing tourism. That's something we needed. And you want the space to be taken care of. You want it to get special extra attention. It lets people know I'm supposed to be here, and this is where I'm supposed to be able to hang out and enjoy it. So you want that extra level of attention there. And then the Downtown Development Corporation, nonprofit, really the 20,000-foot view of what downtown should look and feel like. It's where our advocacy efforts come from. Initiatives with the city and the state are about policy, financial tools, larger investment projects, what we can make happen. That really changes the trajectory of what downtown looks like. They need each other. You have to have a clean, beautiful, safe downtown to attract investors, developers, employers, employees. So the Downtown Development Corporation needed that downtown management district work. And then the downtown management district is doing that work to attract those people. So they really fed each other. And both of these groups coexisted for about 35 years before they decided to join forces. And that was what happened, what you described, under the umbrella of Louisville Downtown Partnership in 2013. So it's one staff, but we still have two boards. We have two budgets. Mm-hmm. You still have to think out from both entities. Sometimes we do a little bit different work from each one and how we report out publicly. We have those requirements on the Downtown Management District side. That is a quasi-governmental agency. And so there are some requirements for open records and open meetings. And that's a mayor-appointed board approved by Metro Council. So that's really important that we account for that publicly. But the work that we do as one staff is to raise, elevate the importance of downtown to the entire community, to the entire region. It is everybody's neighborhood. It's the only neighborhood that has a concentration of diverse and dense uses and people using downtown for all reasons. No other neighborhood can say that. Simply because most other neighborhoods are residential. And you might have a commercial node where you've got a little bit of a retail center in a neighborhood, but there's no other neighborhood that has a majority of museums, attractions, hotels, where visitors come to visit. When you go to another city to visit, most likely you're going to their downtown because that's where the majority of the attractions are that you're going to go see. And you named it, ball games, a concert. Now we've got bourbon distillery experiences, which we didn't have 15 years ago. And so there's a reason that downtown gets special, I'm putting this in quotation marks, special treatment, but it's also because it generates more tax revenues than any other neighborhood, and those taxes are used for services all across Metro.
So aside from, bringing more tourism in, bringing this vibrancy in, there was no like event or anything that was like, hey, downtown needs our help for recovery to make this partnership happen?
No, not in 2013.
Okay.
It just was a recognized need. The two boards came together actually and did it. And it's just easier with one leadership, with one staff to be able to look at holistically at the issues that are facing downtown and the tools that we have in our toolbox to be able to help.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know there was a huge change in recent history, all the happenings of 2020. This includes, the COVID-19 pandemic, which took a lot of commuting workers out of downtown and then back at home. And then also in 2020, social justice protests happened downtown after the killing of Breonna Taylor. And there was, around the protests, some businesses were vandalized. I know these factors, unsurprisingly, resulted in nearly 40 businesses closing in the Central Business District, according to data from your organization. So what new barriers did this create for developing downtown?
Interestingly, development never really slowed down. I mean, 2019, actually, if you look at investment numbers, we're 3 times that right now. It's just been building ever since. The biggest difference is people who went home. And let's be clear, people went home for COVID. People didn't go home because of the social justice protests. And I was working at the city at the time, and besides Memorial Day weekend, I mean, that was those were the 2 nights of terrible protests where people came in from outside of our city. But outside of that, I think people went home because of COVID and lost that familiarity with downtown, and the decrease of people coming downtown is our biggest barrier right now. My number one goal for 2025 is to create more residential opportunities, but it's because we need to fix the number of people that are in downtown. We don't have the same number of people walking around during the day. So you mentioned, if someone came downtown, they wouldn't notice the same amount of people, but really that's only during the day, during the week. Mm-hmm. I mean, at night and on the weekends, whoa, it is extremely busy, extremely crowded, very cool to see the vibrancy happening because there are so many cool things to do, which is why we're having Downtown Hometown Tourist Week every year. But I think that the protests were, I think, an excuse for people to not come back to the office. And then people just got comfortable being at home. I mean, it was just easier to be at home and work remotely. Companies were afraid they would lose some of their workforce because of the competition of being able to go somewhere else and work remotely. 2022, I think things started to change, and more companies were saying, we want you in the office.
Right.
If I could wave a magic wand, which I don't own, I would say we should all be back in the office at least 4 days a week. We just should. We need each other. We need our creative energies. We are better when we're working together. And we're social beings. It's just better to be in person and feel each other's energy and be able to work off that with each other. I prefer to be in a meeting with other people as opposed to Zoom. Sitting in this room talking to you is better than doing it over Zoom. But I don't have that magic wand. So, I mean, the things that we have to work on in order to remind people what is in your own downtown. You choose to live here. I want to make reasons, and that's really our reason of being, of existing, is what are the things that we can do to make you choose to come downtown.
Right. And even though in 2020, nearly 40 businesses closed down, now you got, in 2024, over 40 businesses have opened.
Way over.
And 2025, there's even more coming. Is there some incentivization for that, or is it something else?
There is not a lot of business incentives to open small retail. There was a small incentive for a little bit for businesses to relocate into downtown, and several took advantage of that. But that fund got used up very quickly. So we had 40 small businesses open in 2024. We had 33 open in 2023. And I don't know the number off my head for 2022, but we know that we are way ahead of what we had pre-COVID. So that comparison, really, for me, we just need to stop comparing. We're just different than we were in 2019, but we're also better off in a lot of ways. We're smarter in some ways. We've gotten used to some things, which I don't think is great in some ways, but we are continuing, and that's as a community, not Louisville Downtown Partnership, but we're continuing to figure out how to put on the events that people want to come to, or how do we highlight the businesses that people want to shop at and support. And I think that's really important for the health of a downtown and the health of a city.
And actually, you touch on something I'm interested in, because events bring so many people to downtown, like the Derby, PGA, NCAA volleyball tournament. I think Humana Festival was huge for a long time. Is there anything going on to try to attract these large-scale events, or even create new large-scale events to bring to the city to help bring people downtown?
Always. That never stops. We have a sports commission. We have Louisville Tourism. That is what they are doing all the time. The fact that we had the NCAA volleyball tournament here, we know that put our numbers over 2023 numbers, because I looked at them in November and we were just under 2023 numbers, and then at the end of December we were over them. That kind of sports are one thing, but any large event, to your point, is exciting. People want to be in that action. That's why I say we're always better together. That sense of community, that's energy. I don't know if you went to any of those games, but the plaza in front of the Yum Center was packed there. And it's nice that, we've got the NCAA doing it, because they had several stations and they were doing a bunch of activation on that plaza. But it was hard to get through the plaza to get in the front doors, which I think is a great problem to have. And we want those kinds of events that bring people downtown, that are in large numbers, because I do think people find safety in numbers. And they're interesting. Like, you get to be in a space that's unique with people that makes it different, like large music festivals. I'm a huge fan of live music. Being able to go to something on the Great Lawn, for instance. I mean, any kind of pep rally. We had several years in a row at 4th Street Live. Those kinds of things are just unique and fun and get people pepped up, but also very proud to be a Louisvillian.
Right. Well, something else exciting that I know has been happening is that people have been seeing sightings of Dustin Hoffman and Bill Skarsgård, because there is, new Kentucky tax credit that was approved last year. So I'm wondering if is there more on the shooting schedule and how that might affect downtown, actually?
Yeah. So that film incentive is huge. It was, we had it years ago. Bevan killed it, and then Bashir brought it back, and it is just paying dividends. I mean, that is the reason for an incentive, right? Like, we're going to close that gap so that it'll make this project work. And part of the reason that the sound production, the studios at the Old Armory are in consideration as a project are because of these productions that are coming to Kentucky. They need production stages. They need studios in order to do this. And it'll be more, because they can do short series and like advertisements there too. That is exciting and puts us on the national map, which I think is exciting in a different way. So you and I may not understand. I mean, I didn't see Dustin Hoffman personally shooting the movie, but the fact that he was here, the fact that it's been out on social media and in the news that Dustin Hoffman was in Louisville is pretty cool. And people all across the country know who he is, or internationally know who he is. So that puts Louisville on the map, and that's really important for how we raise our stature in the country. And our film industry is going to grow exponentially because of this.
There's some pride in it too, I think. Like, when you eventually see that film, like, oh, that's where I work, or whatever. I came from St. Paul, where Arnold Schwarzenegger's Jingle All the Way was the main hub of downtown, and everybody would point to that. So I can see that happening in the future in a really, really fun way.
Well, if you saw Stripes, I don't know how old you are, but Stripes was big in the late 70s, early 80s. Parts of it were filmed in Louisville, and people still talk about that.
Yep. Someone mentioned that to me yesterday.
Oh,
so that's, see?
Yeah.
There it is.
It matters.
So I've heard you mention, we're talking about investments too, like in this city. And I've heard you mention in interviews that there's a plan for over $1 billion in investments in downtown. Can you talk about those and what those might be thus far, or what you're allowed to tell us?
And actually, that number has grown. We are over $2 billion of investment currently announced or underway. And that just keeps going up too. So everything that's been that's underway or announced is obviously out there. We have a pretty cool pipeline of things that are going to be coming. So I am only just even more heartened of what the future is going to bring Louisville, or downtown in particular, because there are people who have enough confidence and are willing to put their money at risk and their time at risk to do these projects. The $2 billion represents just a transformational shift in the importance of downtown, the things that people want to see happen in downtown, and that they are confident enough will bring people to downtown to experience these. Hospitality is a big part of it. So hotels and bourbon are really big, but we're also seeing some interest in residential development. Again, I'm going to say that's super important, and we do need financial tools to make that possible, especially if we want all current buildings, our historic buildings, to be redeveloped for residential. They were built as office buildings, not the highest and best use anymore. We don't want to lose those buildings. We're so lucky that we've got some really pretty architectural gems in our city. So how do we put them into new use? And it does take funds to get new plumbing put in it and new mechanicals. I mean, that's the most expensive part of retrofitting any building. The mayor did open up an office to residential conversion fund. We're hoping for some more state funding that can help do that too. These kinds of things are important because it gets people on the street, and that is what makes a downtown or any neighborhood a vibrant neighborhood. It's you and me walking around, and we have to have reasons to walk around. Hospitality is a big part of it right now, so we're not just a 9 to 5 downtown, and we've actually shifted away from that, obviously, since COVID. But the bourbon experiences have helped with that over the last, I'd say, dozen years.
I think it's important to establish when we're talking about these investments, this revitalization in downtown, is it for tourists, commerce, residents, or a combination of these?
This question is so funny to me. Everybody benefits. Now, the hotels obviously are for tourists, but any of the experiences, attractions, venues that are where events are held or things where anybody can come do, who doesn't benefit? Like, it's for all of us. And I would hate for anyone to think that these things are only built for tourists and that as a resident, that's not for me and I'm not going to be able to. Why would I go downtown to take advantage of that? That's just a false way of looking at it because we all benefit. And by the way, if tourists come and love this city and love downtown and go home and talk about it, and we're not experiencing what other people are experiencing and talking about and loving, then shame on us.
We'll be back with more after the break. You're on track with Louisville Public Media.
Sly Stone became an icon.
A Hulu original from Questlove.
Sly and the Family Stone. It can't be overstated how popular they were.
Variety calls Sly Lives, the definitive funk pop documentary.
He opened the portal, like, come this way.
Generations have been influenced by Sly.
RogerEbert.com raves. It's a sonic kick to the soul.
If you've been on this heightened life and you stop, where's that energy go?
Sly Lives, a.k.a. The Burden of Black Genius. Premieres February 13th, streaming on Hulu.
It's Kelly Clarkson here to talk all things Wayfair, the best place to buy furniture, decor, and anything else you can think of to create a home you absolutely love. I know when I shop with Wayfair, I find options for every style, whether I'm feeling boho or farmhouse, modern, traditional, French country. I can find exactly what I need for my home and more. No matter your space, style, or budget, shop Wayfair.com to make your home way more you.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome back to On Track. I'm Aisha Jaffer, and we're talking about the revitalization of downtown Louisville with Rebecca Fleischaker, Executive Director of Louisville Downtown Partnership. So it's really great to hear about all this continued investment and interest in downtown. But still, I know one of the challenges, the greatest challenges you might face is the perception of downtown. What do you find to be the most common, perception or misperception that keeps people from coming downtown or even bringing businesses downtown?
I'll answer the first question first. The people, and if you read any comments on social media, you'll see this. People think people are walking around shooting people in the middle of downtown all the time, that downtown is not safe. And that just patently is false. Statistics, and I've worked with LMPD and Downtown Area Patrol at looking at these statistics on a monthly basis over the past several years since I've had this job. 4% of all crime in Louisville, Jefferson County is in downtown. 4 to 5%. That's it. Now, I do think media is a little bit to blame because people will say something happened in downtown that is just not downtown. One of my first jobs that I took upon myself when I got this job was to call all the TV stations and send a map of what the downtown is, even the greater downtown area. And if something happens outside of those boundaries, then call it the neighborhood that it is, because all you're doing is feeding that fear of why people are scared of downtown. And I think it's easy in any city just to say downtown is scary. It's more dense. There's more people. There's a lot more things going on in any downtown. And some people just who aren't comfortable with it or haven't been downtown in a while get scared by that. So really what we're trying to do is make it more familiar, give you any reason to dip your toe in that you're going to miss out on a fun event, on something cool that you can't experience anywhere else. My favorite things to do is close down a street or have an event in a public space where you cannot usually be, where cars are driving, for instance. We had a pickleball street fest in the middle of Jefferson Street, just closed down 2 blocks of Jefferson Street, set up 12 pickleball courts. People were playing all day long. It was amazing.
Oh, that's something I've never tried. So maybe
it's
you've got
fun.
some people who are trying some new things.
It's fun.
That's really exciting. Well, okay. Now, something that recently happened, and I think this goes along with perception, is that a very beautiful new mural was unveiled on the corner of Jefferson and 4th Street by Often Seen, Rarely Spoken, a local mural collective. What role do you think that public art plays in perception of downtown?
Well, we hired them, OSRS, to do that mural. That is a new city spot where we'll, when it gets a little bit warmer, have some flower pots and seating out there. Public art is everything to your experience in downtown, in any neighborhood. When you're walking around and you see whimsical pops of color and something really pretty that stops you that is unique and it can only be in that space, you know you're meant to be there. You know that this has been made special for your experience. So public art, any color, it could be street banners, flower pots, the painting that the mural that you're talking about, painting on the ground. We've taken to doing some of that. And actually where that mural got unveiled, when it gets warmer, we're going to be painting the ground there too. It is all about placemaking, and placemaking is important because it makes you know that you're in a space that was meant to be enjoyed. So we're trying to do a lot more of that.
I love that. I think that's beautiful. That vibrancy, really adds to the backdrop of.
Yeah, murals to me, I love them. They got poo-pooed for a while, and I'm not really sure why, because for me, if you could paint any blank wall with some beautiful design, then you're adding to the experience that anyone is getting when they're walking down the street. If you walk through the Over the Rhine neighborhood in Cincinnati, they've done a wonderful job of adding murals to their buildings. That's what I'm shooting for. We need more of those because I just think it's really, really pretty.
So you said this before, and I love this. Downtown is everybody's neighborhood in a way. And I know one of the efforts in reinvigorating interest in downtown is the Downtown Hometown Tour celebration that just closed that we were talking about. How has this event been received, and have you discovered anything new being a tourist in your own town?
It's my job to know what's going on in downtown. There are things that continue to open that I need to go see. Last year, I think we, after we took the count of how many people took advantage of the Downtown Hometown Tourist Week, we had 250 people that came downtown just for that. We know it because they took advantage. They showed their ID and they got half off their admission. Our numbers haven't come in yet. We're still putting those together for this year. I expect it to be a little bit higher. We paid more for advertising. We're trying to get the word out a little bit more. We wanted to get it out statewide because it's anybody with a Kentucky ID. We have such a great collection of things to do and it keeps changing. And we keep getting new things added to our beautiful collection of museums and attractions and bourbon experiences. We wanted to do this so that we could highlight what we have in our own city. I mean, I already said this. Tourists already come and see it and love it. It's easy just to kind of put down your own hometown and not venture out of your neighborhood and do something different. This is another way, a deal that you get if you want to be able to take advantage of that. And so it's been really successful. We'll do it again next year. I hope the numbers continue to increase. We have more participants every year of venues that want to be part of it. So that's a really good sign that it's good for them too.
It sounds like there's just a lot of great things. Things are going in the right direction. But I still want to ask, what are some remaining challenges still facing downtown, and is there anything we, the public, can do about it?
I would like you to come back to the office for work. That would be number one for something anybody could do to change, because people say it doesn't feel good. There aren't people walking around anymore. Well, guess what? It was you and me walking around before. And when you decided to stay home, that does change things. Like your actions, not Aisha's actions, but one's actions do affect what is felt on the street. Mm-hmm. So I would love more people to come back to the office, because I do think the street feels different when more people are walking on the street. Other people's behavior is different when there's more people walking on the street. You just have, witnesses and peer pressure and that kind of thing. But I think in the absence of that magic wand, like I said, I don't have, being able to have more opportunities for people living in downtown. I'm really focused on workforce price housing for the 20 and 30-something-year-olds who are out of college, early in their career, can't afford market rate, but they're the ones who want to live near where they work, near cool things they can walk to, don't need to have a car to do stuff. They're the ones who I think don't need the driveway and the attached garage. And, we just don't have enough places for them to live right now. So we're really, really trying to push all the different ways we can get more residential development. How do we develop surface parking lots? How do we redevelop those currently empty, older office buildings, stuff like that? It's going to take some new tools. I'm advocating at the state for an expansion of a property tax abatement program. Again, conversion fund would be very helpful. All of these things are in our downtown strategy. We unveiled that last year. It's a 10-year plan for what we want to see in downtown. And when I say we, it's the community. We did a year-long focus groups, public meetings, one-on-one meetings. What is it that you want to see? What is it that would make your experience in downtown better and be more attractive to people?
Well, I really appreciate your time with us. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for being here. Rebecca Fleischaker. Rebecca Fleischaker is the Executive Director of Downtown Partnership, working to improve Louisville's greater downtown area. And she's also the host of the monthly video series Downtown Lowdown, spotlighting different aspects of our city center. On Track is a production of Louisville Public Media. The On Track production team includes Michelle Tyreen Johnson, Jacob Munoz, Alex Biscardi, and Laura Ellis. If you're just tuning in and you want to hear the full show, you can find it now at lpm.org, on the LPM app, or in your favorite podcast app. And let's continue the conversation. Is there something you want to hear about? Something that matters about your Kentuckiana experience? Let us know by sending an email to ontrack@lpm.org. I'm Aisha Jaffer, and if you're looking for your next vacation, it might be in your own backyard. Until next time, you're on track with Louisville Public Media.
It's Kelly Clarkson here to talk all things Wayfair, the best place to buy furniture, decor, and anything else you can think of to create a home you absolutely love. I know when I shop with Wayfair, I find options for every style, whether I'm feeling boho or farmhouse, modern, traditional, French country. I can find exactly what I need for my home and more. No matter your space, style, or budget, shop wayfair.com to make your home way more you.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
On Monday, February 20th, 1950, in a room in the main library on 4th and York, we turned on a microphone to speak with our community for the very first time in Louisville Public Media history. Join us this year on February 20th as we spend the day remembering and celebrating 3/4 of a century of public radio in Louisville. Learn more at lpm.org/75.